Marcus's graduation from law school was supposed to be the crowning achievement of the Sullivan family. 3 years at Harvard Law, summa cum laude, and a prestigious position already waiting for him at our father's law firm. The entire extended family had gathered at the Cambridge campus to celebrate the golden child's latest triumph. I arrived at the ceremony 30 minutes early, hoping to find decent seats for what promised to be a long afternoon of hearing about how brilliant my older brother was. Anna. My mother spotted me immediately. Her smile seemed forced. You actually came? Of course I came. It's Marcus's graduation. Well, we know how busy you've been with your government work. The way she said government work made it sound like I was processing parking tickets instead of working in national security. My father appeared beside her, adjusting his tie. Anna, good to see you. How's the job in Washington? It's going well. Still doing that policy analysis thing? This came from Uncle Robert, who never quite understood what I did beyond knowing it involved the federal government and a security clearance. Something like that, I said. The truth was more complicated. For the past 3 years, I'd been working as a senior advisor on national security policy, reporting directly to the National Security Council. My clearance level was higher than most cabinet members, and my recommendations influenced decisions that shaped global politics. But explaining that to my family had always been impossible, partly because of classification restrictions and partly because they had never shown much interest. Well, I'm sure it's important work, Mom said in the tone she used when discussing hobbies. Marcus is so excited about joining the firm. He'll be on the partner track in just a few years. The conversation was interrupted by Marcus himself, resplendent in his graduation robes and radiating confidence. At 28, he had Dad's commanding presence and Mom's social grace, plus the kind of effortless charisma that made people want to invest in whatever he was selling. Anna. He embraced me warmly, though I noticed how quickly his attention shifted to the relatives clustered around us. Everyone, thank you so much for coming. This means everything to me. We wouldn't miss it, sweetheart, Aunt Linda gushed. Harvard Law. We're all so proud. Marcus beamed. It's been an incredible 3 years. The networking alone has been worth it. I already have connections at 3 Supreme Court justices' chambers. The family murmured appreciatively. This was vintage Marcus, always working the room, always positioning himself as the center of attention. What about you, Anna? Uncle Robert asked. Any exciting developments in your government work? Before I could answer, Marcus jumped in. Anna's been doing great work in D.C., very administrative, very important behind-the-scenes stuff. The dismissal was subtle but effective. Marcus had reduced my role to administrative and behind-the-scenes, code for invisible and unimportant. Administrative work is so valuable, Aunt Linda agreed. Someone has to handle the paperwork. I felt the familiar heat rise in my chest. It's not exactly paperwork. What is it exactly? Dad asked, though his attention was already drifting toward the auditorium entrance. How could I explain that I spent my days briefing cabinet members on international threats? That my analysis had influenced the president's response to 3 major crises this year? That foreign intelligence services considered me important enough to warrant surveillance? National security policy, I said simply. Right, policy. Marcus nodded like he was humoring a child. Very technical stuff. Anna has always been good with details. The announcement came for guests to take their seats. Marcus's graduation class was large, and the auditorium was packed with proud families. I've got the first few rows reserved for VIP family and my law review friends, Marcus commanded as we headed toward the entrance. I looked around at our extended family, all filing toward the front of the auditorium, while I was directed toward the back like a second-tier relative. The back? I asked. Just so there's room for everyone important, Marcus said quickly. You understand? I understood perfectly. Marcus had divided his guests into tiers, and I'd been relegated to the bottom category. The message was clear. My presence was tolerated but not valued. As I made my way to the back rows, I passed clusters of relatives settling into premium seats, Mom and Dad in the front row, Aunt Linda and Uncle Robert in the second, Marcus's law school friends occupying an entire section near the stage. And me, alone in the back, surrounded by strangers who'd also arrived late or been deemed insufficiently important for better seating. The ceremony began with the usual academic pomp, processional music, faculty in elaborate robes, speeches about the future leaders of American jurisprudence. I sat in my distant seat, watching my family beam with pride as Marcus's class filed across the stage. When his name was called, they erupted in cheers. Dad stood up and applauded. Mom dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. The entire extended family made sure everyone in the auditorium knew that Harvard Law graduate Marcus Sullivan belonged to them. I clapped politely from the back row, feeling oddly detached from the celebration. This was how family events always went. Marcus at the center basking in recognition while I existed in the background like expensive furniture nobody noticed. After the ceremony, there was a reception in the law school courtyard. I waited for the crowds to thin before making my way outside, where I found my family clustered around Marcus, taking photos and making plans for the celebration dinner. "Anna," Mom called when she spotted me. "Come take a picture with Marcus." I joined the group photo, standing slightly behind everyone else while Marcus held his diploma and grinned for the camera. After several shots, the photographer, one of Marcus's law school friends, started arranging smaller groupings.